Hello, 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 and happy Sunday. Welcome to Joanne's Healing Within. I am your host, Joanne Angel Barry Cologne, your certified holistic personal trainer, intuitive healer, cosmic energy reader, medical astrologer, master of numerology, the creator of the Chakra Balance Numerology Cosmic Energy Forecast Deck, a mom and a wife. We're still in 2022, and I cannot believe we're already in September. Nevertheless, the 11th day of September. Before I dive in, just want to remind you to share, like, and comment on today's show. If you missed our last episode, which was actually 2 weeks ago, I had the amazing Dr. Terry Morse on. She had spoken about overcoming diseases. So you definitely want to go back and check out that episode, especially if you are struggling with a disease, illness, or even pain for that matter. A lot of the information she shared was very informative and very helpful in reference to getting rid of your disease. Okay, so again, share, like, and comment, and know that you can watch that on any of the major platforms: Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Twitch TV, YouTube, right here on Strong Island Television for that matter as well. Anyway, I want to give a shout out to all my amazing advertising partners that helps this show go live week after week after week. And there's a whole bunch of them, so of course I have a list so I don't forget any of them. So we're going to start off, as I just mentioned, Dr. Terry Morse. She is the doctor of natural medicine. Then we also have Daniel Martinez Stoll. He is our educator in regards to transforming your life. Kitty Foss and Amy Martin, who are the host of Intuition of Your Soul. Kendra Greer, our astrologer. CJ Ives Lopez, she is the publisher and host of the Author's Porch magazine and podcast. Gabriella, who's our medical intuitive that matter, founder of Alive Health Solution. Joel Monkman, he's our shamanic healer, practitioner, and also wellness advocate. Last but not least, who's our guest today is Nick Rafter. He is our real estate agent. He's also our editor, writer, and journalist as well. So now that we got all the major business out of the way, the important stuff, after all, my advertising partners do help me make the show go live week after week. Today's topic is all about Nick's journey with spirit communication. And I'm sure you're kind of curious, what exactly does that mean? And even some of you might be experiencing your own journey with spirit communication. But we're going to get to that in just a little while. What I would like to talk about a little bit is based on the energy that we are in on this 11th day of September. Now, before we even dive into that number, let's talk about the planets for right now. We have 3 planets sitting in Aries energy: the Moon, Jupiter, and Chiron. Now, when we speak about Chiron, some would pretty much say that's not a planet, it's an asteroid. That's totally correct, but I always list it under the planetary information. So when we think about the Moon's energy, it's about how we feel. The same thing with Chiron. Chiron's about the wounded healer, on how we feel. And then we have Jupiter, which is the planet of expansions and our gifts, which I think works really, really well in today's show when we think about it. In reference to our gifts, it's about expanding our spiritual gifts. And every one of us has the potential of tapping into one gift or another. Whether we really want to activate that gift or not is really up to you. But I would look at it like this, and I've actually shared this statement with a client of mine, because a client of mine had mentioned to me that she did not really want to activate her ability to connect with spirit. And I said to her, if you handed somebody a gift and they chose not to ever want to open it, how would that make you feel? And her response to me was, well, I would feel sad, because here it is, I gave them a gift and they're choosing not to want to open it. It's the same process when we think about our spiritual gifts that we have been given in regards to our contracts and by our higher power. Our higher power has offered us these amazing gifts. So it would be sort of sinful not to want to open those gifts. And when we think about today's energy as the 11th day of September, and I want you to write this down. I want you to write this down so this way here going forward, you'll have this information. There are many dates on our calendar that are what we call portal dates. And what that just means is that when it's a portal, it gives us the opportunity to connecting with spirit at an easier pace. So today is a portal because it's an 11 energy. The 11 in numerology is known as a master number and means the master healer of relationships. So if you actually really took time to reflect on today's overall energy and the experience that many of us are experiencing today based on the 9/11th anniversary, 21 years for that matter, the energy of the moon, Chiron, and Jupiter plays a huge role in what many of us are sitting in reflection of. So we have that 11 as the portal. And then we just had a portal the other day, which was on September 9th, which is that 9/9 energy. Every month carries that portal. Last month was 8/8, which was the Lion's Gate. When we think about October, October is going to be 10/10. So every month has a portal to helping us connect with spirit, where what I like to call the veil between the spirit realm and the physical realm becomes really thin and gives us the opportunity to connecting to our spiritual gifts. And then in addition to the 11th, we also have the 22nd of the month. That's another portal because it's a master number. And we think about the 22nd as a master number, that is the master of the spiritual mastery. What it is you came here to be the master of based on your spiritual journey, shall we say. So when you look at the calendar, look at these dates, circle them, excuse me, and know that these are your portal opportunities to really connecting with spirit and having a conversation. Now, of course, sit back, grab your pen and paper, grab your favorite drink, and stay tuned to what Nick will be sharing with you today in regards to his journey. Oh my goodness gracious, that's crazy. And how his journey may very well be very similar to your journey. And there'll be a lot of Q&A going on today where hopefully it will provide you some insight to what you might actually be thinking about. So what I like to do now is I like to shake up my cards and find out what we need to know for today, what one chakra you need to know to work on today so you can be in alignment to this energy that we do have. But before I go with shaking up the cards, I do want to take notation on today's date. As I mentioned, the energy of the overall date, when you add up that 9/11 and 2022, add it all up, it works out to be an 8 energy. That 8 in numerology is about harmony and balance. And bringing harmony and balance into our energy for today is those many, many people that we are remembering today based on the 21-year anniversary. And recognizing in that 8 energy based on astrology, it's about that Scorpio energy of learning to let go and transform. And recognizing that this is a perfect opportunity to transition into this spiritual journey where you can connect with those loved ones who've crossed over and know that they may not necessarily be here in the flesh anymore, but they are definitely with you all the time. And you can have conversations with them each and every day and gain major insight from them as well. So let's pull a card. All right, so what a perfect card for today. Perfect card, new relationships. The new relationship that we're having today is with spirit, being able to connect with spirit and have those conversations. But in order to have connection with spirit, it's really important to always ground your energy so you can stay more balanced and more stable in this connection that you do have with spirit communication. 2 and 8 works out to be 10. When we think about that 10 energy, it is the soul's work that you came here to do. It is about that 1 associated with Aries, which is about yourself. It's also about a new beginning that you do get to have when you make this connection. But the chakra here is the root chakra. So it's really important to ground, so you can focus in on the new relationship that you're going to have with yourself and all the relationships you're going to have with all the spirits, all the loved ones that have crossed over and are now actually here as your spirit guide. So that's the lovely energy there. Now, what I would like to do just for a second, just to honor this energy of the 21st anniversary of 9/11, I would like us to have just a moment of silence for just about 30 seconds, just to sit and ground our energy, connect with our loved ones. So just for about 30 seconds, there's going to be a 30-second period of silence. Let's sit in quiet and connect. All right, just take a breath and know that each and every one of your loved ones who have crossed over during this 9/11 21st anniversary, you can and still have a relationship with them. And with today's show, hopefully Nick and I can help you feel more comfortable in that connection of connecting with your loved ones through spirit communication. I'm going to take a quick commercial break, and I will be back with Nick, and we're going to have an amazing conversation to help you out in reference to your spirit communication journey.
Hello, my name is Nick Rafter, journalist, writer, editor. I'm happy to be offering copy editing and line editing services at competitive industry rates. If you have a book or any document that needs to be edited and thoroughly looked through, please contact me at nickrafter@gmail.com. Let's discuss how to get that work done. That's Nick Rafter, NICKRAFTER, @gmail.com. I hope to hear from you soon.
Each of us has a mission. What's your mission? Would you like to become a community health resource specialist so you can help your family and your community? For more information on this new training, email me at terry@morsewellness.com. That's TERRY @MORSE wellness.com. You can become a community health resource specialist.
Hello and welcome back to Joanne's Healing Within. For those of you who are just tuning in, I'm your host, Joanne Angel Barry Cologne, and I have my amazing guest, which I will introduce in just a minute. Just want to go over our card for today, which is about new relationship. And the root chakra is all about getting grounded. Our number is 28, which is associated with 10 as our soul's purpose. Now, I thought today's affirmation, new relationship, was really fitting for today's show based on the fact that we are going to be speaking. Nick and I are going to share some insight based on his journey with spirit communication. And I think that itself is a new relationship. So come back and watch from the very beginning to see what I've shared regarding the card and all the other information regarding our planets, which we have a lot going on with those planets. So with that all said, you can come back and watch on the replay, or you can watch on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Twitch TV, YouTube, and many other platforms. Anyhow, Nick, how are you today? Let's introduce us, Nick Raffer. He's been here more times than I can count, and he's an amazing guest. So, Nick, how are you today?
Doing good.
Excellent. You're doing good. Love it. So share a little bit about who you are and what you do, and then we're going to dive into our conversation.
Sure. So I'm Nick Rafter, and in my everyday life, I work as a realtor in New York City on Long Island. So I sell homes, help you buy homes, help you rent homes, all the fun stuff. Also a writer, and I write mainly on cultural, all the political topics. And Joanne and I have done many of these shows. We've talked about spiritual healing in the past, and I guess we're here today to talk about recent discoveries of mine, which is my ability to connect with spirits who have crossed over.
Yes. And Nick, as we get into this topic, when was your first literal experience with knowing that you were capable of connecting with spirit? Like, when was the very first time? Because I know you've shared this with me during a session, but it goes back a while back, right?
I think I realized it. There wasn't a moment. Well, there was a moment. There was a moment about earlier this year where I began to realize that I was communicating with people who had crossed over. And I didn't realize it. But then I realized, looking back, I had all these moments going back 20 years, 30 years, to which, I thought I was talking to myself, or I thought I was, on my own thoughts, but I realized that I was talking to people who had crossed over even then. And so I began to, basically what happened was when I realized it, I would say it was probably February, March of this year, I said, well, maybe this is what's happening. And I basically asked my higher power to be open to this possibility and see what happens. And then it started coming in. Then I began to understand it better. And
now, when you say you asked your higher power in regards to spirit communication and that to be open with this experience, what exactly does that mean?
In other words, but basically what I said was, if this is actually what this is, let me be open to it on a larger scale. So let me, hear more from the other side who want to communicate through me, and let me sort of be able to interpret it. And so the way it really started was I was at work, and I was talking to a friend of mine, and her grandfather was communicating through me. And I don't remember the specifics of what happened, but there were certain details that he was communicating that only she could verify. And then I realized it, and I said, okay, that's what's happening. This is what's happening. Because very often it's happened to me in the past where, I meet somebody and I automatically know something about them, and then weeks later they confirm it, and I'm like, why did I know that about you? And I thought maybe it was like a deja vu thing or just a coincidence. But now I realize that it's from people communicating through me and wanting me to verify, wanting that person to verify that they're being communicated with. And so that's when I first figured it out. And so I did a lot of, I reached out to other mediums out there, sort of asked what their experiences have been, if they were similar to the ones that I was having. And pretty much all of them said, a lot of them have some different things. In my case, the biggest difference is I have not yet figured out how to retain consciousness while communicating with the other side. I fall asleep.
Mm-hmm. Now, before you go into that, because I think that's interesting too, but I have a question that's coming up, and that question is, when you are, the word I'm hearing is receiving a message, exactly what is the experience like? Do you actually hear something, or you feel something? What does that look like for you?
Sometimes it's a vision. Usually I see it. Sometimes it's just the word. So, a good example is I was communicating with a friend's uncle who was a baseball player. And all I heard was I heard the word, I just saw the word baseball in my head. And I heard the cracking of a bat, like the sound of a baseball game. And so I just went baseball, because that's the images I was getting. And she was like, oh yeah, my uncle, he was a prospect for the Major League Baseball. He never made it because he hurt his arm, blah, blah, whatever else he said. I ended up dying an alcoholic. And the whole story came through based on that one thing. And it wasn't that I heard him say I played baseball. It was that I saw and heard words and images connected to the game. So usually it's that. And sometimes it takes a little interpretation. Sometimes, I'll see a color, and then I don't know what the color represents. And I saw a green blanket once, and then the connection wasn't to a green blanket. It was to a house with a green wall where she felt comfortable. So the blanket represented, comfort.
Yes.
So it takes a while. You have to kind of interpret it, and I'm learning how to do that, but it still takes time, and it's still a little scary sometimes because I do kind of sometimes see things that I don't want to see, and I don't want to deal with, but and dreams get a little crazier, and so there's still some work to be done.
Now, when you're sitting, let's say, whether it's with one person or in a group of people, and do you have those experiences where you'll suddenly see someone sitting next to them that's obviously not in the group of people, but just shows up as spirit?
I'll see a shadow or something. I won't see a specific person.
Okay.
I'm beginning to see a lot more shadows. And shadows is something, I know that we talked about this about 4 years ago. I think I was on your show talking about this. I had a week where I was actually having paralyzing anxiety attacks. over death. Just for
Yes.
some reason, the concept of death made me super afraid. And for 3 or 4 days, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, I couldn't watch TV. I was watching the Great British Baking Show and I had to turn it off because one of the characters was talking about her mother dying. And like it just was like an anxiety because I started having doubts about what happens when you die. And so one of my fears was that it was just like eternal blackness, loneliness, just like, and that scared me. And so at the end of that, I was writing about it, and I all of a sudden had like, an epiphany where what was really confusing me about death was the whole idea of being reunited with your loved ones. If you were reunited with your loved ones and your loved ones are not, how far back does that go?
Yeah, I remember us having that conversation
that gave me all these doubts. So then I was writing about, I had this epiphany where I said, well, maybe it's not the same universe, same plane, where you might be in my afterlife, but I'm not in yours. Our afterlife is our own thing. So I might see my grandmother, but she won't see me. But I think she will. But we'll see. There'll be two different, they won't be the same universe. It's our own universe.
It's interesting because I know you and I have spoken about that many times in your sessions. But what I'm actually hearing right now is in regards to like our contracts that we do share with, let's say, loved ones who've crossed over, or the different contracts that the different people we come in contact with in real life time, and we connect with a loved one for them to give them a message. In regards to is the contract that we have. So theoretically, when it comes time where, let's say, you cross over, theoretically, it's not going to be where, like, we'll use the word heaven. Heaven is not going to be overcrowded with all the different people you've come in contact in this lifetime.
Right.
And I think it's really about the different contracts you have here on Earth, of the connections and conversations that you are meant to deliver and also meant to receive lessons from in this lifetime.
Yeah. So when I had that epiphany, I thought to myself, I said, well, why do I feel like this is the other side communicating this to me? And I said, I wrote down, I said, I can imagine my grandmothers conspiring with each other and saying, we can't let him go on like this. Just tell him what it is, at the risk of us being like, damn to hell, whatever the hell it is. And so I said, well, if this is the other side communicating with me, somebody send me a sign. And in that moment, I saw a shadow in the corner, scared the what out of me. And I was like, oh, that's my sign, And so now I'm seeing a lot more of those shadows. They don't scare me as much as they used to, but I notice these shadows sometimes, and I start talking to them, and then I can start communicating with them. And very often they're people that I know. I mean, 90% of the people who communicate with me are people that I know who passed over. So. Yes. They're former friends of mine who passed over, or family members, or, I had a neighbor talk to me recently about how angry she was about what happened to her house, since she's passed over and the new owners fixed it, and so it's not always that, like, someone will communicate with me and say, I need you to go find my cousin or something. When that will happen usually is when I'm with people, and the spirits usually follow them anyway. So it's not like they're already there. So I might walk into a room with you and then connect with your spirit, connect with your ancestors, but they're coming with you. You're bringing them. So that's another thing that I realize is that, I can't communicate with your grandfather, from here. Well, now I can't because you technically, even virtual works this way.
Oh, yes, definitely.
You can't just communicate with your grandfather randomly on a Saturday afternoon. Like, you have to bring him to me.
Yes. And one of the things I've learned in spirit communication, and many, many, many practitioners have said it this way, and I'm going to go on a limb and say that I don't agree with what many of them say, only because from my own experience. And this is what they say, is that when in spirit communication, you theoretically cannot, if somebody were to say, well, I want to talk to my mother, or you're looking to get a message from, that person's looking to get a message from their mother, it's not necessarily that that you may connect with their mother. However, this is where I disagree with that statement, because if you can and have the ability to connect with spirit, you can very well connect with that energy of that family member that you're looking to have a conversation with. Now, theoretically, if there's really nothing that the mother of the person who's looking to speak to their mother has to say anything, that's usually why the energy of that spirit doesn't show up, because there's really no message there for that person to have. But at the same token, that doesn't mean the person who's looking to speak to that spirit can't sit and have a conversation and use, let's say, you as the vehicle to have that conversation with, because again, you're more sensitive to spirit communication. So if they chose to talk to you, and then you can, I look at it as having just a general conversation like you and I are having.
Yeah.
To be able to connect with that loved one who's crossed over. You know, and for me, that's like, okay, you can have. So it doesn't matter whether or not we believe that, okay, well, you're not going to be able to connect with that person necessarily. I truly believe that's not true. I believe that.
I've never had an issue yet where someone says, I want to connect with this person, and the person hasn't come through. To your point, though, I've had people come through and say, hi, and that's it.
Yes, you know, exactly.
I just want to know, okay, and that's
exactly.
it. And then I've also had an experience several weeks ago that was pretty crazy, where it was a childhood friend of mine who wanted to connect with her that past mother, and they had a lot of bad history. And I connected with the mother, and it got like bad vibes in a way that I never experienced before. I was uncomfortable. And the sense that I got from her was, I really don't want to relitigate this. Like, whatever it is, it's done, it's over.
Yes.
And as the daughter started talking to me about casually about some of the problems they had with her mother, then the spirit started coming in stronger.
Yes. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to ask you if you can hold that thought. Because I think this is going to go into a bigger conversation. I don't want to have to cut you off as I'm doing now. Let our viewers know how they can reach you, because we do have to take a commercial break, and then we're going to come back and talk more about that as well.
You can reach me at nickrafter@gmail.com or through my blog at nickrafterwrites.com. Also, my Substack at nickrafterwrites.com.
Okay. So that primary email is the Gmail address where they can reach you if they have questions or whatever have you. Yes?
Yep.
Excellent. We're going to take that quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to talk more again about spirit communication, and then we're going to even go into, again, some of the questions that some of you may have regarding, because I have a few questions here that I've been chatting with some of the audience about off before the show, and I'm going to ask Nick those questions to see what we can give as a Q&A today. We'll be right back.
Hi guys, I'm Kendrick Cortez Greer, personal astrologer and astrological counselor here in Brooklyn, New York. I've been an astrologer for over 23 years now, providing astrological readings, counseling sessions, workshops, and corporate events all throughout the tri-state area. I've been very blessed and lucky to have clients all throughout the United States and beyond. If you're interested in a reading that is warm, heartfelt, honest, and conducive to speaking to one of your best friends, please contact me at 917-863-7528. You can also email me at kendrickstar@gmail.com. That's Kendrick, STAR, @gmail.com. And for you Insta people, find me on Instagram at Kendrick Cortez Astrology. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Toodles.
Hi, I'm CJ. The Author's Porch is a community where you find good books and good people. We collaborate with services that deliver quality to authors and publish a magazine for authors by authors. Come by, let us feature you or review your book. Coffee is always on, and no matter what time you arrive or where you come from, the porch light is always on.
Hi everyone, I'm Kitty Foss.
And I'm Amy J.
And we're Intuition of the Soul. We are a Facebook and YouTube group that has created a sacred spiritual place to look at your spiritual practices.
And there's too much to tell you about what we do, but let me tell you, we have weekly activities, we have monthly activities, and you are not going to want to miss our spiritual practitioner series. So join us on Intuition of the Soul.
Aloha.
Hello and welcome back to Joanne's Healing Within. For those of you who are just tuning in, I'm your host, Joanne Angel Barry Cologne, and I have my amazing guest, Nick Rafter, here. We are speaking about his journey as a spirit communicator. And those of you who are just tuning in, remember to share, like, and comment. And you can come back later and watch this on the replay on any of the major platforms, to name just a few: Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and Twitch TV. So here we are, talking about Nick's journey as a spirit communicator. And I truly believe we all have the ability to connect with spirit if we are ready and willing to do just that. And what I'd like to find out from Nick, regarding your story as a spirit communicator and having this connection where whether you're in a group of people and shadows show up for you or you're sitting alone, what would be one of the things that you can share with the audience regarding your journey that can help somebody move into their journey as well?
I think one of the most important things is to realize when you're talking to yourself versus when you're talking to somebody else. Because I think for many years, I thought I was talking to myself. And it was weird because I think it actually messed up my mind, because I was like, why am I feeling this way? Why am I thinking this way? What is this? Like, I thought it was different people for a long time. And only when I began to realize that I was actually talking to people who passed over, was I able to really make sense of these conversations. I think the first most important thing is that if you feel yourself having communication with someone, and you think it's just yourself talking to yourself, ask about it. Ask for the whatever you're talking to, whatever it is. Ask for some sort of validation of who they are. You'll get symbols. You'll get you'll get words. You get symbols. You get a vision. And you might see that it's not you, it's somebody else. That will open it up. I think the other thing is just to really, when you're in a room with other people, and it starts to happen, if you start like hearing and seeing things, to begin to open it up. So like, let's say you're sitting with a group of 5 people, and the image of a grapefruit is coming up in your head. You don't know why you're hearing this, or you're hearing a song over and over again. Like, why is this song in my head? I would just bring it up. I would just be like, anybody like grapefruit? Anybody, anybody know that song by whatever? Because what you'll discover is somebody might go, my grandmother loved grapefruits. She used to get grapefruits for breakfast all the time. And then she passed over, and I haven't eaten grapefruits and she died. And all of a sudden you realize, oh my God, I'm talking to my grandma. That's what I think my first advice would be. It's difficult to really make sense of it first, because sometimes you're going to interpret things wrong. And I think when that happens to you, you give up and you go, oh, forget it. I'm not doing this right.
Yes.
It takes some understanding of how to interpret stuff, because it's not as literal as, I guess, TV media make it seem like it is. It's a lot more speaking in code.
Now, for you, in regards to your practice as a spirit communicator, what do you do, whether it's daily or, however frequently you do it? What do you do to maintain your practice so you can, enhance it so it can become, I'm going to use the word, easier for you to really communicate? So what do you do? What does your practice look like?
Well, 2 things. One is I don't have to do much, because they communicate with me just on their own. And so I just take that moment I don't shut them out. I take that moment but now I have what I like to call office hours, I guess. I joke about it, or open door hours.
Okay.
I basically tell the spirit world, all right, I'm here. I'm free for the next hour. What do you want to talk to me about? And sometimes there's nobody there, but sometimes I'll hear from people. Usually people that I know, because those are the spirits that I can bring in. Sometimes it's people that were brought to me and then never got a chance to communicate with me. A couple times it's celebrities.
Oh, nice.
Really
nice.
Bizarre experiences to talk to historical figures. But in fact, I've been trying to conjure up the Queen the last few days, but I take it she's very busy. But
Yes, you would think so.
but I am told by one of my advisors on the other side that her arrival on the other side has made about the same amount of news on that side as her death has in here, because she's such a well-known figure among those who have passed that her now being on the other side, it's sort of like big news. So that's been an interesting conversation I had with a family member who crossed over, who have said, "Oh yeah, we know she's here," But yeah, so sometimes I do take the time to like communicate with some spirits when I have moments where I can do that. Other times I basically just like tell a friend of mine or a coworker of mine, "Do you want to hang out tonight? See who comes up, see if and do a reading for them," because then it sort of makes, and then usually it's somebody close to me so that they don't get weirded out if it doesn't go right. But I just had an open house where I was working with a coworker, and 15 minutes after, I just took a moment to communicate with her great aunt, because she was there. I knew she was there, and I said, let's communicate with her a little bit. So I could sharpen my skills, and so we could have this conversation. So we talked a little bit about their life back in Nepal, and all kinds of fun stuff about food, whatever else. But again, sometimes it just happens. I mean, I was doing an open house this morning where I'm trying to show the apartment, but the former owner of the apartment is still there. Her spirit is still in the apartment, and she's communicating with me, and she's not happy about the renovations that happened in the apartment, and the fact that there's a new kitchen, because her cabinets were customized cabinets that were cut in California and transferred. She's telling me all these things, and I'm like, I'm trying to show your apartment, but when the showing was over, I took the opportunity to sit and talk to her and sort of communicate with her about how, I know you love the apartment. I know that this is your home. I respect all that stuff. And you're past now. The next person who comes, I'm gonna make sure it's somebody who will love the home as much as you love the home with their own. And that's sort of calmed down a little bit. But it also helped me sharpen my skills, where I was able to sort of like take this opportunity to, during my normal day job, to do a reading, to do a communication, and communicate better. Of course, I fell asleep, which is another issue that we talked about earlier.
Yes. So my next question for you, Nick, in regards to what you're just saying in regards to your day job, and earlier you said where you have office hours, is there a time in the course of your day that you would not want to be connected with spirits?
I would only, to be blunt, I would say only during intimacy times. I think that's the only time. I mean, I communicate with spirits in the bathroom. It really doesn't bother me. If you want to communicate with me in there, that's your decision.
So now, during your sleep hours, you're okay with spirit showing up? Where you're trying to go
interesting, they usually don't. If they do, it may be like I can sleep. But if they do appear during sleep hours, they usually appear in my dreams anyway.
Okay.
So they're not disrupting my sleep.
Okay.
I guess, I mean, to be honest, lately, only during Game of Thrones will I say, I actually did say this to the first episode of House of the Dragon, this is what it's called now. This is my show, I'm waiting 2 years for it. I need the time. And spirits are very respectful of that. I mean, they're super respectful of the time. And they know that you're doing a job for them. It's energy that you're, burning to them. And so they're respectful of that. But I would say most of the time, it's not. Now that I'm used to it, it doesn't bother me. Like we had this conversation about bathrooms, and we talked about it too. And I basically told them, if you want to be in here with me this time, I'm happy to talk to you. I don't know why you would want to be here, but
yeah. Well, it's interesting because I've had this conversation as well with my husband, where I've shared with him that when I'm in the shower, I often speak to spirit. And he was so funny because he's like, they show up in the shower. Reality is spirit shows up anywhere. They don't actually see you as you see yourself, let's say in a shower or whatever not. They're just connecting with your energy.
And
You
they
know,
do,
so
they do show up when you're in intimate moments with somebody else. And that's
yes,
very
yes.
uncomfortable. You know?
Yes, yes, they can very well show up, during those moments too. Because again, I think the concept is, as a spirit communicator, you're open to the vulnerability. So because you're open as a spirit communicator, they're gonna show up when they're like, oh, he's in a vulnerable state right now, so we can connect with him. Again, because it's just energy, not so much about the activity you're actually doing or participating in. You're just energy to them. But with that being said, let our viewers know the email they can reach you at.
It is Nick Rafter, one word, at gmail.com.
Excellent. So for anyone who has questions or would like to learn more about when Nick does go to house openings and what that's like for him during a spirit communication, that would be an excellent conversation to have with him off air, because he has some amazing stories to share about that. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with some more insight that he's going to share with you, and also a reading that I will be giving Nick as well today. We'll be right back.
Hey, this is Joe Monkman, and I am a personal development trainer. And that means that I help people step into their leadership roles, take their place as a visionary, really understand their own mastery in the world so that they can really find their place at the buffet of life. And if you want to know more, you can find me on my Facebook page at Joe Monkman and joemonkman@gmail.com.
If you are turned off by conventional medicine and their mantra, do you want meds for that? There's a better option. I'm Gabriella Mihalichin, medical intuitive and healer. Let me help you find the root cause of your illness and guide you through healing. My intuitive method directs your body to heal itself and removes barriers to healing. I invite you to schedule a session today at alivehealthsolutions.com.
Hello and welcome to the Channeling Spirit Virtual Summit invitation. My name is Daniel Martinez Stahl. I've invited 11 other incredible spiritual intuitives to come and join me as we give Spirit a platform for them to share with us their latest messages, healings, and transmissions. To register and attend for free, please go to channelingspirit.net. I look forward to seeing you there. Being spirit, being human, and simply being from love. Bye-bye.
Welcome back to Joanne's Healing Within. For those of you who are just tuning in, I'm your host, Joanne Angel Barry Colon. I have my amazing, amazing guest, Nick Rafter. We are chatting about and been chatting about spirit communication. And I'm kind of curious to know how many of you out there have had the opportunity to connect with spirit, or perhaps you're starting to wonder about why is it that you might be either seeing shadows, feeling energy next to you and there's nobody there with you, or maybe even hearing sounds and you're like, or you hear your name. I know for me, I tend to hear my name a lot, and I look around and there's no one ever in the room when I'm hearing my name. So it's like, okay, obviously there's somebody here with me. And I know for Nick, because him and I have shared many, many conversations, that he too experiences the energy of feeling, or even sometimes seeing shadows go past him, and he knows he's the only one in the space that he's at. So what I want to find out from Nick at this point is, Nick, I know for me, when I want to purposely connect to spirit, I will either utilize an incense or an oil. Do you work with any of that when you want to purposely connect with spirit?
Not all the time, but I've started to. Usually if it's, so for example, if I'm in a mood, like if there's anger, if there's bad vibes, and I feel the bad vibes from spirits, I'll usually I haven't used the oil, but I've used the red rose incense, burn that. And that's helped sort of like lighten the spirit, lighten moods, I guess. I've used frankincense, because it helps communicate, it helps clear the process of communication. And I use frankincense though mainly as an oil, a diffuser. And I use ylang ylang because I just like the smell. Mainly. And then lemon is something that a friend of mine actually told me to use. If you feel like you're not connecting, if you kind of feel like there's something blocking you,
Yes.
and lemon has been the oil or actually soap to use in that regard as well. And so those are the main ones that I've used so far. But I'm still learning. There's all kinds of different ones that you can use, but those are the main ones that I've learned to use.
Oh yeah, I mean, I believe there isn't any oil or incense that you shouldn't use. I mean, theoretically, if the purpose is that you want to connect with spirit, setting the intention to like lighting it or putting in the diffuser or even just putting it on your own body if you're using oils, that the intention is that you want to activate that energy to connect with spirit. Now, for those who are looking to, let's say, clear the energy of spirits out there, now I know for myself, clearing energy, like, letting any heaviness that shows up, a really great incense is sage to clear the energy in the space. So if you're going to have a room full of people, remembering and understanding that every one of those people bring spirit in with them. So to clear the energy, like literally going in each corner of the room and just bringing the sage from the bottom to the floor and flowing it up. And that itself helps to clear any of the heaviness that might be carrying, and also using it after you have a whole room full of people. So this way you can clear the energy out. What was that?
Use sage at the end. Like if I'm having a really big moment of communicating with somebody on the side, like a tough conversation with my grandmother or something like that, I will end it with burning the sage. Just so, kind of like closing a door.
Exactly. And I just want to give a shout out because we do have 1 or 2 people watching with us. I just have one name showing up. I have Ann here, and she says that she has actually communicated with her dad. So she's obviously very, very attuned to spirit communication. And I do believe, again, as I mentioned, we all have the ability to connect with spirit. It's just really a matter of how you want to connect with spirit, whether you want to literally have a verbal conversation or you just want to just sit quietly and just see what shows up from them as well. So Nick, what I would like to do at this point is I would like to give you a reading to see what insight shows up for you. Are you open to that?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm going to ask that you do for me is reciting the name that you use on a daily basis, not necessarily the name that's on your birth certificate, but your name that you use so spirit can connect with you.
Nick Rafferty.
There we go. Excellent. Let's see what card is in store for you. Okay, so our card that we have here, which is in reverse, quite interesting. The message is self-love. Self-love. And when we think about the chakra, here we have the root chakra again showing up. Now, because Nick does work with spirit communication, it's extremely important for him to stay grounded as opposed to, let's say, not grounding his energy, because when we get connected to spirit, it can be overwhelming. And it can very well go into the point of second guessing our own love for ourselves. Because I remember you saying earlier that sometimes when you connect, it's almost like second guessing the conversations that's showing up, correct?
Yep.
And the number is 7-3. So what this number is letting me know, to let you know, is that this is a 10 energy, which is about your soul's calling. That there's no accident to why all of a sudden, within the last, how many years have you been doing this? I mean, specifically more consistently?
Years?
I don't even think it's years.
Months, 6 months.
Yes. This is your calling in reference to the connection. What I'm hearing right now, which is interesting, because you had said that earlier you had an open house and that you were connecting with the former house owner of the house, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That perhaps going forward, what you could do is connecting with the person who lived in the house prior that's actually selling it, and connecting with them and seeing if there's anybody as spirit that shows up. And maybe there's a message for the current owner who's selling with the person who might have lived there prior, and deliver a message, because this is your soul's calling. This is something you're supposed to be doing.
It's funny you said that, because that's exactly what she was telling me. was that it wasn't a happy message. It was that she was unhappy with the way, I guess, the whole process went with her vacating the apartment, and then I guess it was her children renovating the place to sell it. But that was the message, that she wanted somebody to know that. So what I got from that is that she was never able to vocalize that.
Yes.
And I don't know if the person expressed that message or, figured it out, but she just wanted somebody to know it. She wanted somebody to listen to her. And so that's what, after the showing and everything, I sat down and I realized she wasn't this mean old lady. No one listened to her.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you see that message, self-love, that's not a message for you. It's a message letting you know that what you actually did today by having that conversation with the spirit is that you let her feel loved. Mm-hmm. Where for the first time she was actually heard because you sat there and had a conversation with her.
Yeah, that sounds like that.
And because the card's in reverse, it's about let go of your resistance that you may have in regards to connecting and trusting that however you receive the message, that you deliver the message, there is no wrong way. So if, let's say you are smelling, let's say grapefruit, and you deliver it, and no one sort of resonates with it at the moment, it's not that you delivered the information incorrectly, just that no one resonated with it at the moment. They may end up coming back and calling you and saying, you know what? After I really went home and thought about it, I realized that was so-and-so connecting, and oh my God, I cannot believe that you reminded me of this. And so our messages that we deliver doesn't always get delivered immediately to the person where they don't pick it up right away. So trust how you are delivering your messages and know that they are perfectly aligned. I'm being guided to share one more card with you. Love this one. It's change. So through the work that you're doing through your spirit communication, which is the throat chakra, you are actually changing the lives of the people you are delivering these messages to. So can make sure you constantly stay on course with doing the work that you came here to do as a spirit communicator, through the real estate work that you do. And also what I'm hearing really loudly is that it's really important to make sure you write about your experiences when you are connecting with spirit. These are articles. These are important articles, and even a book that could very well be translated to share down the road. So that 5 energy is major change, but creativity based on the communication you're having with spirit. Does that resonate with you?
I've started the book, actually.
What's that?
I've started the book, actually. So that's an interesting prediction.
Yes. So yes, change is definitely something big, and you are changing people's lives when you are delivering the messages. So, and I just want to give another shout out. We have Jimmy here, and he says he too connects with his 2 sisters. Actually, he connected with his sister 2 nights ago, so that's amazing. So there's lots of people out there that are connecting with spirit. So, Nick, if you can give us one last final word for our audience in reference to those that might be new to this, what would that word be?
Listen.
Okay, that's right on point. Listen.
It's all your senses. It's not just words. It's just hearing. It comes through scents, flavors, things you feel. Right up to, you might touch a pillow, and it might have a certain consistency, and that's a way they're communicating to you. My grandmother had a fridge pillow, and I saw one in Target one day, and I touched it, and it reminded me of her. And I realized that was a message.
There you go. Yes.
So, listen is the biggest thing I said. All of your senses.
Excellent. Nick, one last time, give your email for anyone who wants to get in contact with you about spirit communication.
Yeah, Nick Rafter, one word, @gmail.com.
Yes. And of course, if you want to get in contact with Nick, if you do have a home or an apartment that you need some support with, or even an article or blog that you want to write and you need a little editing, reach out to Nick for that. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and then I'll be back with the conclusion of today's show. Did you know that stress and unprocessed emotions can store in your body, creating more muscle tension and pain, causing illness and disease to flare up. With the help of Chakra Balance Reiki healing, you can begin to feel better within one session. Hello, I'm Reverend Joanne Angel Barry Cologne, your certified holistic personal trainer, intuitive healer, cosmic energy reader, medical astrologer, master of numerology, and the creator of the Chakra Balance Numerology Cosmic Energy Forecast Deck. And I would like to help you release issues from your tissues as you release emotional weight and begin to feel better physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. For more information, email healingwithin76@gmail.com.
Hello, my name is Nick Rafter, journalist, writer, editor. I'm happy to be offering copy editing and line editing services at competitive industry rates. If you have a book or any document that needs to be edited and thoroughly looked through, please contact me at nickrafter@gmail.com. Let's discuss how to get that work done. That's Nick Rafter, NICKRAFTER, @gmail.com. I hope to hear from you soon.
Hello and welcome back to Joanne's Healing Within. For those of you who are just tuning in, I'm your host, Joanne Angel Barry Cologne, and you missed an amazing show. I had my amazing guest, Nick Rafter. He was sharing his journey about spirit communication. You definitely need to come back and watch. You could do so. Go watch it right here on Strong Island Television or on the major platforms such as Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Twitch TV, and also YouTube and many other platforms. Anyway, just want to go over the promos, but before we do the promos, I know many of you like to know what's coming next. And next week's guest, she'll be on the show for the very first time. She is Reverend Nancy Rose. I think I said her last name probably wrong, but that's not unusual for me. She's an international author and artist, and she's going to be sharing her amazing newest book, Never Broken. So you definitely want to come and tune in and find out about her journey. So some of our amazing partners have some amazing promos going on. To name them, we have Kendra Greer, our astrologer, the Author's Porch magazine and podcast. Then we have Spirit Messages and Energy Insights. And remember, there is a flyer for each one of our amazing, amazing partners. Check those flyers out. Then Intuition of the Soul, Morse Wellness, and by our amazing guest from today, Find Your New Place. And last but not least, by yours truly, our 3 weeks Body and Soul Transformation Challenge. And again, remember to come join us next week, same time, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, as my newest guest, as I mentioned, Reverend Nancy Rose, international author and artist. She's going to be sharing her book with us, Never Broken. Super excited to have her here. Remember to come back and watch if you're just joining in now, but do share this out. Remember to share, comment, and like on today's show. I like to know what you like about the show, so put that in there. Put in the comments, what do you like about the show? Week after week that you come and join me each week, and I do appreciate your energy. Till next week, have a great, amazing week. Enjoy the energy that's going on, and I'll be sharing more with you next time. Bye-bye for now.